the recording. So this is the Land Use Committee meeting on September 13th, 2022. And why don't we all go around and introduce ourselves. I'm Ann Mazar, and I'm the chair of the committee. Carolyn? Okay. We can't hear you.
Her microphone is muted.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. All right. This wire sometimes is temperamental. I'm Carolyn Barthel. I'm an alternate member.
Okay, Frank?
Hi, Elaine. I'm Frank Nero, member.
Elena?
I'm Elena Brugos. I was recently elected to the select board, so back in May, and I have requested to be the select board liaison to this committee. I have not done a lot of reading about what you've been up to, but I look forward to learning about the projects. And I've worked with Anne and Carolyn before on the Solarize Mendon Upton program, which I understand that has some ties to this committee. So I'll be interested in hearing more about that.
Barry?
Barry Adirola, planning board representative.
And Peter?
Peter, representative from the Conservation Commission.
All right. Okay, so let's see. Did you have a chance to look over the meeting minutes of last meeting?
Yes. I'll make a motion to accept the minutes as written.
A second? I
I'll
think,
second.
okay, Frank second. All right, any discussion? All right, all those in favor?
Barry, aye.
Aye.
Peter, I.
Is getting Carolyn, are you
Frank,
and
aye.
I don't know, who can't hear you. All right.
All right, I never know. I'll just do without the wire. That's fine.
Okay. So there was a couple things I wanted to go over since our last meeting. One of the things that we did was Stephanie Cavino came from the Blackstone Watershed Collaborative, and she had that resolution that we brought to the select board, and they signed it. So that was good. Another thing we talked about was spending money on this beaver solution device in the town forest. And we did that, and we got the New England Biking Association donated $500, and we also got grant money. And so we just had to use a little bit of the land use committee money to put the device in, and it's in, and we, should be working, but it didn't rain this summer, so it's hard to know if it is or not. But Bill Dykey from the New England Biking Association is monitoring that, and he'll let us know how that's doing. And I think we mentioned last time on the Solarize Mass Plus program, we have a free 25K system that we can install somewhere. And the last location we're looking at was the library in Mendon, and then splitting the benefits from that between Upton and Mendon. But that, I'm not sure where that's at. It's been like a very slow email back and forth conversation. But I don't know if you saw the last email that Jay Beyer said that they're replacing the roof on the gym, and that's a huge roof. And so that might be better. And then it's Mendon Upton, and then, the benefits are shared. So we'll follow through on that. Just have to hear back from Ace Solar.
If I remember correctly, there was a question on whether the parsonage, which was the parsonage from St. Michael's, was going to stay up. And there was a question of if there was enough roof with the Taft Library. And it wasn't entirely clear, but now this, that's how I remember the conversation or the back and forth. And now I'm really glad that there might be a possibility of using Nipmuc.
Just kind of simplifies things.
It does.
We also talked about putting signage up where there's been encroachment on the Gaskill Meadows property, which is on George Street, and the Inman Hill property. And we purchased the signs and they've been installed. And I need to walk with the person that put the signs in just to kind of monitor the encroachment. And anyone that wants to come with me, as a matter of fact, Barry, you might be a good person to look at the Inman Hill one if you're interested, since Barry knows the woods. But Alan Greenberg put the signs in, and so he's willing to like take us by the boundaries. Would you be interested, Barry, in possibly doing the Inman Hill?
Depends on when you're doing it.
I think he would just do it whenever you were available.
I could probably do it late afternoon, Tuesday or Thursday,
Okay, so maybe we'll try to coordinate that, and
but
then
it's gotta be before, mid-October. Cause once mid-October comes, I'm out until New Year's.
yep, hunting.
Yep.
Yep. Okay, so maybe Barry and or I can look at that, and then the Pond Street on George Street. I'm gonna look at that, and also Patrice Murphy might. And then I just wanted to mention also that we had talked, so the Applewood open space subdivision and the Pond Street open space subdivision, they want to get their roads approved at this next town meeting. The Pond Street subdivision has literally been 7 years trying to get them to do what they needed to do for the project, and I think we're almost there. And Applewood, they're also finally coming through doing what they need to do, and we have a new volunteer land steward, Moritz Schmidt, and so he's going to be monitoring the boundaries and the signage to make sure that the developer puts them in around the open space. And so I don't know if, I guess, Carolyn and Elena, but all the open space properties in town, we have volunteer land stewards, and it's really great because they are super helpful. You know, they kind of watch the properties, and this summer there's weed, this water chestnut weed on the Inman Pond on the Meadowbrook Woods property. And so we had neighbors and the volunteers coordinate, cleaning that up. So been a very, very, very helpful. And then one last thing I wanted to note, that we do, and I don't know, I don't think we knew this last time, but we did receive a Green Communities grant, and we got $15,000 towards an electric vehicle, which the police chief is going to be driving. And he is so psyched. And he wants like everybody to be driving electric vehicles. And like some of the other guys are kind of dragging the feet a little bit. And he's like, nope, it's like, the future, we need to do this. And so hopefully he'll like his vehicle and we'll be able to get more in the next round. So we'll see how this goes. He's going to test it out.
What type of vehicle are you buying for $15,000?
Well, $15,000 is only an incentive to buy it. It was, more than that because you have to load it up with the police equipment, but it's actually a Ford Mustang, which I think is kind of clever. And I guess the Massachusetts State Police use the Mustangs, and they're cool cars. And so it's sort of an incentive to want to, use an electric vehicle. So the $15,000 was just an incentive. And we also got.
Can municipalities get the tax credit? Because the tax credit on that vehicle is probably $7,500.
Yeah, no. So I think that's why the state incentivizes the towns through the Green Communities program, because we're a nonprofit, so we can't get that. And also with the town hall project that's going on, there's going to be 2 new EV spots that will be stations that will be going in there. And we need to meet with National Grid to find out what incentives there are, and they should be good. But, and then the other thing that we got awarded was $59,500 for retro commissioning of the Clough School HVAC system. And so we haven't started anything yet, but anyways, that was good news. So, okay, the next item, the November special town meeting. Did anybody have any items for that, for the warrant? Okay,
Nope, no items.
yeah, I don't have any either. I think the annual town meeting might have bylaw changes and things like that, but, all right, well, that was easy. On September 28th, there's going to be a workshop, which I'm going to attend, and I think other people are invited to attend also, and maybe you know, Elena, but it's about figuring out where the town might be able to put in like a town well. And so they invited me just because I know the properties in town. But if anyone is interested, it's on September 28th, and I think it's from 4 to 6. Is that something the select board's going to, Elena?
I'm not sure. I saw a couple things yet. I'm not sure about dates and which is which. So I'll have to
Okay.
look through my emails about that. Yeah, I thought I saw something that was about this week, but I think that might be, I think that's a different issue.
Okay,
And it's
Kit,
maybe
Carolyn?
ancient history, but 20 years ago, I was on a water study committee when we got money from Blackstone. So we
Yep.
spent a lot of time looking for sites, and there was a lot of good work done there. I don't know if that report exists or.
I think it does. I would imagine Dan knows about that, Dan Byer. You don't know where the report is? You don't have the report, do you, Peter?
I do not, and I'm not sure if there was even a kind of a final report. There would have been minutes of the meetings. I don't really remember because we kind of focused on the only one that was kind of at the corner of Providence Road. There had been previous interest there that would have had sufficient volume at the time. So that's right where Providence Road takes the bend there. There had been historic interest in that spot as well.
Into Bellingham Street? Or Hartford
No,
Avenue
it's
East?
Hartford Ave where it bends.
Yeah.
Bends.
Was it, the person that did that study 20 years ago also is the same person I'm pretty sure that's been working with Bill McHenry on 52 Providence Street for the affordable housing. So I should find out more than that because I'm sure they had the study. I can
Carolyn,
follow-
Carolyn, I see your lips moving, but I can't hear you.
All right, okay, all right, sorry. I use this thing to be able to hear people clearly, but I need to remember to take it out when I talk. Okay, sorry. Thank you, Elena. I have, what is the rationale behind having a town well? This is not a piece of information about, why would we want one?
Elaine, have you talked about it at the select board meeting at all?
Not at the select board meeting exactly, but I've heard a fair amount about this, that it's helpful for businesses to come in because then they do not have to have the expense of doing getting the private well for businesses, which I understand is pretty expensive, especially compared to just residential wells. So I think I've heard it mostly in the context of trying to encourage new businesses to come to Mendon.
And especially on Route
So-
16.
Mhm. Yeah, so this would be something that any commercial business could tap into on Route 16, for instance, if it were there.
Right, and there's Jack Hunter, who's coordinating this meeting, has been doing work to see if we can get water from another town, and I think part of this is that maybe the other town wants some water contributed to it. And I believe Uxbridge also, they have a sewage line, and they're not to full capacity. And so I think they actually would like Mendon to use that, which would be very helpful on Route 16 for the same thing for businesses, but also around Lake Nipmuc possibly, because, you know, so that
Mhm.
less nitrogen in the pond. But
Okay.
And I'm all supportive of a town well if we can keep it under control. But as you mentioned, if you have the water and there's sewer from Uxbridge and you've tied into Milford's water or Hopedale water, in my opinion, you're not going to be able to stop a developer from tapping off that and putting in quarter-acre lots anywhere in town. Because the only reason we have large lots, so it's be careful what you wish for. And so however it gets done, it should be try to keep control over it as much as possible.
yeah, I'm not in charge of this project at all. I'm more going as a participant, so. And Peter, maybe you would be a good person to go to this meeting. I'm going to send you the information on it.
Sure, if I can make it, yeah. Sure, if I can make it, yeah.
Okay. That's all I have. So,
Motion to adjourn then.
yeah, just, does anybody else have anything or any questions, Elena? Oh, actually, one thing I did want to mention, did you guys see that article, in Hopedale where 100 acres was clear cut?
No.
Oh,
It's part of that, railroad.
Yes, I did, with the
Uh,
railroad track next to the park.
Yeah. Yes, and it's near that Trask property that the town owns, and so I'm kind of keeping my eye on that. And Hopedale, there's like a lawsuit going back and forth in Hopedale between the railroad. I guess the railroad
Mhm.
companies have some kind of caveat where they don't have to follow environmental rules, and so they
right.
clear cut. I'll send the article. I mean, the picture's like pretty crazy. It's not good. Yeah.
Where was the article?
Where was it?
Yes, where was the article?
I saw it in the Boston Globe.
Okay.
But I can copy and paste it and send it to you. I mean, just so you can see that. But it is close to Mendon, and I just think it's something we need to keep our eye on.
Mhm.
And the Trask property at this point is just, I don't think we're really moving forward with anything on that.
Mhm.
Though, you know, I think that Mike Maroli actually looked at the house.
Was this by the Parklands that they clear cut?
Yeah, I think it's pretty close to the Parklands. Yeah,
Wow.
yeah, it's pretty
So by the Mill
crazy.
River. So by the Mill River.
What'd you say?
By the Mill River out towards 140 from the Parklands.
I'm not exactly sure of the location, but if I can get a map, I'll send that too.
Yes, on the north side, kind of where the old landfill was and kind of.
Yeah, because that's where the tracks are. The tracks come, you know, where Mill River crosses 140, just on the line, and then anything on the right side is Hopedale. Goes down to Dorian's gift shop and down into the Parklands. Mill River flows into Hopedale Pond. On the back side of the rustic bridge.
Uh-huh. Well, I will send you the information and, you know, I mean, if there's anything that we can do on our end. You know. Were you gonna say something, Barry?
No, I'm good. So I made a motion to adjourn.
Great. Anything else? Okay. So you want to second that motion, then we can have discussion. I don't know. But was there anything else on the, that anyone wanted to say?
I just want to acknowledge that it's been 3 years since we applied for green aggregation, and I've talked to a number of other people in, who are, other people in other towns, and they're in a similar position. And I think we just kind of have to wait for the new administration. And then, there'll be an energy behind that, and hopefully we can make that happen.
And that would be, the new administration would be this fall election. Mhm.
Yep.
All right. All right, well, we can kind of stay in touch by email and if anything comes up. I mean, no decisions made or anything, but why don't we, the next meeting will be October 11th. And that, I will have to have it be a remote meeting unless someone wants to go to town hall, to have it be a hybrid, but October 11th at 7 o'clock.
That's fine.
Yep, I'm good with that.
All right,
Works for me. I'll second Barry's motion to adjourn.
okay. All those in favor?
Barry, aye.
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 All right,
Night.
thank you. And
Bye-bye.
Good night.
thank you for taking notes, Frank.
Bye.
I'll send them to you in a couple days.
Thanks, everybody.
Sounds good. All right, bye-bye.
Okay, bye-bye.
Thanks, guys.